Hi everybody, welcome back to Kelly's Creations. I'm so glad you're here. So this is part 2. Last week was part 1 of using garbage to make Christmas decor. Oh my gosh. Let's do a little recap. I used toilet paper rolls. I used different size cans and made Christmas decor. I also used some air dry clay and made my own little houses and trees. I spray painted everything black. Here's the air dry clay, which I used to make all of these little houses. If you missed last week's video on how to make these houses, stop right here and go back to last week's video. It'll show you how I made all of the little houses. Now, this is a tomato sauce can, and I'm going to use my sponge dabber, and I am going to dab on Waverly and plaster all over this can. If a little bit of the black is showing, that's okay. I only did one coat. I didn't mind the black coming through. If you would rather have this totally white, of course, do another coat. I love the dabbing instead of painting because you get that like snowy look on it, I think, instead of a flat surface. So I had these iridescent little snowflakes. I don't remember where I got them. I might have got them off Amazon. I don't think they came from the Dollar Tree. But I used craft glue and I attached these snowflakes going all around the can. You can use school glue. I don't know if glue stick would work. Craft glue seemed to work pretty good. And I always use Q-tips whenever I can because it's easy that way and I can throw them away. And you get a whole bunch for $1 at Dollar Tree. So I'm going to just dab on craft glue and I'm going to attach all of these snowflakes, but I'm not going to bore you with that. So we're going to skip forward to it already being done. I loaded the can with as many snowflakes as I could. Sometimes you think you only need a little bit of glue and then you realize, no, that's not going to cut it. So just keep going. Use the glue on top as well. It will dry clear. You will still see the iridescent look. If I bought these from Amazon, I will link them in my Amazon store. The great thing about using, I hate to keep saying garbage because these crafts when they are done are gorgeous and do not look like you used garbage to make them. But the best thing is it's cost effective. You would have been throwing these cans away. So why not use them? Think outside the box, go on Pinterest, watch some YouTube videos. There are so many different ways of using things that you would just toss in the garbage to make decor. We spend an obscene amount of money on Christmas. If we can get away with making decor out of items that we would have tossed in the garbage, I say go for it. Once I had all my snowflakes, I grabbed some floral foam and I'm going to cut it down to fit inside the can. I'm not going to glue it down. That's up to you. I'll probably be using this maybe for another project. I might only be using it this year in my decor. I don't know. So I didn't feel the need to glue it down in case I wanted to use aspects of this for another project. If this is something, of course, that you're going to have for a long time, glue it down. I use the pieces that I cut off the corners to make it fit in the can. I just kind of shove it into the empty space. I had gotten these bottleneck trees from Target a couple of years ago. They were on the clearance. I loved the colors. So for this little project, this is the color scheme I'm going to be using. I had smaller versions also from Target, and I had thought about putting that little yellow one in there too, just for a pop of different color. I end up taking that one out and using a Dollar Tree white tree. So this is one of the houses I made last week from the clay. So all of my houses had a base coat of plaster on them. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to use this Tuscan teal from Apple Barrel. And I'm going to paint the bottom of this house in the Tuscan teal. For this project, I'm making this like it's a little cabin in the forest. And I'm only using one house. Now, I wish when I was making these houses that I would have put a toothpick in the bottom of each of them. I knew what I was going to be using them for. I should have put toothpicks in each of them so that they could go into the floral foam. I did not do that, so now I'm going to glue the pick to the outside of the house. You don't see this, but while I was gluing it down, I pushed a little too hard. I ended up breaking the roof off my house. So when you see the final reveal, you're going to see a crack in my house. Yeah, don't push too hard if you're gluing the stick on. Best case scenarios when you're making your houses, if you're going to be using them as picks, put a pick in the bottom of it, let it dry. And then you don't have to go through what I did. So, like I said, I decided to 86 that yellow tree. I grabbed one of these clear white trees from Dollar Tree and cut the metal part of it so I wasn't using the base. And then I think that looks better. I still get something different, but the white goes better than the yellow. I added a little bit more floral foam because I needed this to go on the edge. There just wasn't enough in there. I do hot glue the house and the trees to the foam. And look how cute that is. Like, can you imagine taking all your used cans, making a bunch of different kind of houses? You can even make a church. You can make a school and just making like your own little canned village. I think that would be adorable. If you have a mantle, fireplace, or a little shelf somewhere that you like to decorate, how cute would it be to have like a canned village on it? I think that's just a great idea, and I think I'm going to make more and do that. What's best about these is you can do them for your color scheme. I know a lot of people like to change their color schemes for Christmas, and there are so many is that what they're called? Bottleneck trees? Bottle brush trees, I think. There's so many different colors that you can use. I had these little balls that look like snowballs, so I'm just adding a little hot glue to them, and I'm going to put a few snowballs in the tree to kind of bring out that there's a lot of blue going on right now, so to just add some white. And I'm also going to put a few snowballs, or one snowball at the base in front of the house. I was chattering so much. What I used for the fluffy snow was a cotton ball. Cotton balls are great. It gives that billowy snow effect. And I think that's what we used to use, me and my mom, when we were little. We wanted to create snow. There you go. A canned little village. How stinking cute. Here's a close-up. Don't mind the crack in my house. That would happen when I push too hard, putting that stick on there. But look at this. Can you imagine a whole row of these canned little villages? Oh, I just think this is so cute, so cost-effective. Oh my gosh, you would have just thrown this can away. Here's another cost-effective little ornament. Now, this came from a package that I had purchased. I'm not sure what I had purchased, but it had this foam, protective little foam they put in to help your packages not get broken. So I keep so many random things. I had this in my craft room. I cut squares out of it. I painted them with the plaster. The two smaller, I cut 4 squares, but then I cut 2 down to be smaller. The smaller ones I did with chocolate from Apple Barrel. Okay, so we're going to make a s'more. One of my favorite ornaments from when my son was little is he went to the library when they had ornament making day and they made s'mores. And I love this ornament. So when I was coloring the plaster on one of the squares, I took my toilet paper roll. This is just a used up toilet paper roll. And I painted that with the plaster as well. This is such a fun project to do with your children, to do with your grandkids, or if you just like s'mores like me, do one for yourself. Now, I dipped into the chocolate and I went over the plaster just a little bit, rubbing it, getting all messy, fun, dirty, and made this one just a little lighter. This is going to be the graham cracker, and I wanted it to be brown, but just real light brown. So mixing it, That dark brown with the plaster gave me the color that I wanted. I am going to hot glue my little chocolate onto my graham cracker. You want your best side down because that's what you're going to see. Of course, glue the lighter side up because that's going to be glued. So now we got our graham cracker, we got our chocolate. I'm going to take the toilet paper roll that I colored. I'm going to cut it down. Now here's where you could make a bunch of these different ways. Mine is a little bigger, but if you cut this down smaller, it looks almost like a smashed s'more. Mine's gonna be a little bit bigger, but you could cut this toilet paper roll in half and it kind of looks like when you get your s'more all built and you smush it together. Super cute. So there is different ways of doing this. I'm just using hot glue to glue the foam pieces to the toilet paper roll. It seemed to work pretty good. It didn't come apart, so we're good. Now, you just want to grab a Sharpie and draw a face on this. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Draw 2 eyes, draw a nose, and draw a smiley mouth. I tend to make my eyes a little triangles. I just like that look. I added a happy little, he's so happy, look at him. Added a cute little mouth. For the hanger, I am going to use thick twine. I'm going to tie a knot into each end, making sure my knot is really secure and tight. Then I'm going to cut the little tail off of the knot, and I'm just going to use hot glue to glue this to the top of the s'more. I used a lot of hot glue. I wanted this to stick. This doesn't weigh a lot. I don't see this coming off, but I just thought better be safe than sorry. So I glued that down and I went into my stash. Oh, here's where I'm showing you that you could have made it smaller. You could cut it in half and make a smashed s'more. So then I went into my stash and I just grabbed some greenery. I cut 2 stems off and I picked a couple berries off of it. And I'm just going to use 2 little stems up at the top, put them together and put those berries in the middle. Because this is a really beigey brown piece, I thought that would add a pop of Christmas color to it, having the green with the berries. Really, really cute. Now, we're going to go a step further with this. And I grabbed my pink paint and I'm dabbing on some rosy cheeks just because I like it. You don't have to. Marshmallows are not glittery, so I didn't want to put Epsom salt or anything like that. I wanted them to be smooth. So I left that alone. But I did go into my stash. I grabbed my apple barrel and chocolate. I used a Q-tip and I wanted it to look like melted chocolate was coming down onto the marshmallow. So I dipped my Q-tip in the chocolate and I just kind of made like drips coming down the top. I also added chocolate to the bottom as well, so it looks like the chocolate had melted around the marshmallow. This is so easy, so much fun. Some of my best childhood memories around Christmas was doing handmade ornaments with my mom. I mean, we used to do the construction paper loops and have that kind of garland. We would make ornaments. Almost our whole Christmas tree was handmade ornaments. And this is just kind of taking you back, blast from the past, when we used to just make our own Christmas decor. I love adding the chocolate onto the base also because it gives that melted effect. And here's our little s'more man, so stinking cute. Okay, so I have the lid to the tuna fish can, and we're going to build a little village. I have 3 houses left and 2 trees out of the houses I made last week. I had painted them in the plaster, and when I was making my snowman can and I was flicking paint, I got a little black flickers of paint on these, and I just didn't feel like repainting them. So if you see little black specks, that's why. They were sitting on my desk when I was flicking paint on my other project. I'm gluing these to the top of that lid with the edge. There's a side, it might be my can opener, but there's always a side where there's a little lip, and then there's a side that's flat. I'm doing lip up. And then I'm taking a sprig of my greenery, and I'm just gluing one of those to the back. So I glued down all of my houses, my 2 trees that I made, and then just gluing this sprig. Don't worry about hot glue. You can use as much as you want because it's going to get covered. I come in with some school glue, use a Q-tip, I rub it around, and of course I love cotton balls for snow. So I'm going to take a cotton ball, use my fingers, and I'm going to separate it really good. This actually took 1 cotton ball to do. And then I'm going to push it down a little bit, getting it, still keeping it looking billowy, but pushing it a little bit into the glue with a dry Q-tip. I'm going to go all the way around and fill snow into every part of this that has the black bottom. The snow also helps keep the little houses in place. It's a great cover. I love using cotton balls for snow. I kept my houses neutral. With the greenery and with my green trees, I just thought this would be so cool just to have like a little neutral village setting. And that's why I did not paint my houses for this. I wish they didn't have little black speckles on them, but you know, it is what it is. I love using school glue because you can squeeze it into those little nooks and crannies, and I keep using my Q-tip just to keep pushing in that cotton ball and filling up this whole area with that snow. I came in with some craft glue on my Q-tip, and I dabbed craft glue all over that green little sprig I cut. And then I also put a little bit of craft glue on the tips of the houses and the tips of the tree. Then I'm going to grab some Epsom salt, and I'm going to sprinkle this whole thing with Epsom salt so that it sticks to the tree and it sticks to the tops of the houses. Make sure you have something under your project when you're doing this because it goes all over the place. But this gives that little glittery sparkle to it, like fresh fallen snow when it has that glitter to it and is so pretty. So that's why Epsom salt's a great idea. Once you have it where you know, on all the pieces that you want, take your piece and just go over the garbage and get the excess off. Now we're going to attach it to the base. This is a tomato paste can. I am using super glue and hot glue, and I'm going to just put my little village on top of this can for the base. You could also make this into a Christmas tree ornament, but like I said earlier, this would be so cute to have like a bunch of cans with these little houses and make your own little canned village. So this one's a little different than the first one I made, and I just think that all of them together would be adorable. So tell me what you think so far. Which one's your favorite? I always ask you guys, will you be trying this project? Leave your comments below. So I had one more lid left, and I wanted to make an ornament out of it. So I'm using that same ribbon. I love this vintage ribbon from Big Lot, and it has different little scenes on it, so I picked where I wanted it. I cut down the ribbon, and I cut off of the sides of it where it can be bent. I just want a flat ribbon. So I cut it down, and I love this ribbon. Then I went and grabbed my tarp. I bought this, or it's a drop cloth, but I bought this canvas drop cloth, and I've used it for so many projects. and there's so much more of it left. So I cut a corner of it, making sure that I had the edge on one of the sides. I cut that off for now, but we will be using that later. So the drop cloth, I cut down kind of to size. I use my hot glue. I'm only going in the center. I don't want hot glue on the edges because I want to be able to fray this. I thought it would be easier, and it was, to fray it with it already attached to the lid. So I use some hot glue. I glue my drop cloth down. I trim it up just a little bit, and then I use my fingers and I just start fraying, trimming as I go. Since the edges don't have hot glue, you can really fray it inward as much as you want. Now I'm going to do the same thing for my ribbon. I'm going to fray it. I am going to round the corners because I wanted it to fit within the lid. So I do start fraying, and then I realize, nope, I should have rounded those corners. So I cut it down, and then I keep fraying until I have enough fray that I like. You do you. If you don't want to fray it, don't fray it at all. I like that country decor, Christmas decor, and I thought this fit perfect with that country theme. So I just kept pulling strings away until I had it the way I wanted it. Then I used hot glue, and I put this piece on top of the drop cloth right into the center. Then the edge that we cut off the drop cloth is going to come into play now. I made sure, as I said before, when I cut it, I cut a piece with the edge on it. So I'm going to trim that down. We're going to use that part too. But this is the part that is sewn on the drop cloth, and that's a perfect hanger. So I figure out how I want it to. You can twist and turn it and get tons of different looks for your hanger. I figured out which one I wanted. I added hot glue to the back. Since this isn't a heavy piece, I think hot glue will be fine. I put my hanger on the back. When I flipped it around, I realized it was kitty corner a little bit, which I was so happy with because I love anything that is kitty corner. So that didn't bother me, especially since I knew the next step was putting a bow on this. So first I used that drop cloth piece, and I ripped it in half. I took some more of that ribbon. I cut little slits in it. I ripped that up. And then I had some lace, which for the life of me, I could not remember what it was called in the last video. I took that lace, I cut a piece, and I ripped that up too. Now this is just going to be a hanging, kind of ripped up bow. So I am going to put it all together, kind of layering it the way I want it. Then I'm going to take that extra piece of lace that I had cut, and I'm going to tie it around the top of this so that all these nice, beautiful frayed pieces hang down on the side of this ornament. So once I get it exactly the way I want, I tie it around the top, and I'm going to glue it to the corner of the ornament. I have a tree that I decorate with just country decor. I can't wait to add this to it. I love this. And it was just some ribbons, a little bit of drop cloth, and an old lid that I would have tossed in the trash. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Christmas can be a stressful time, and you should have beautiful decor without breaking the bank. And I hope I gave you some inspiration and maybe a few ideas. Next time you want to throw that can away, of grab it, make a little canned village. I love you guys so much. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button. Always leave me a comment. I love hearing from you guys. You've helped out my channel so much. I'm so grateful. I hope y'all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I got to go home and spend it with my family. And that's just the best time ever. So I will be back next Tuesday with another Christmas video. Have a blessed week. Bye, y'all.